Hey, we're back for the midnight show. Good to see you all. As you can see from the title, I wanted to continue on with the William Tyrrell or Tyrrell uh, podcast thing. I actually got to listen to a bunch of it just now, especially episode 3 that's just, I think it's just come out or whatever. This is season 2, episode 3. You know, one of the points they try to make in this is that over the years, there's been a lot of recordings done from the parents, the foster parents, and other people involved in the William disappearance, including his foster mother, who, if you are to take what she says for granted or from face value, she is probably the last one to see William alive, being that, she was at her mom's house in Kendall and that she knew that he was playing on the out the back or whatever. One of the interesting things they bring up in this podcast, unfortunately, I cannot show it to you due to copyright issues. I think if I show it to you, they will absolutely come for me. I think if I play this little section for you, they will take down my channel, and that's a shame. But I can tell you, you can head to news.com.au or wherever you get good podcasts. The season is called Witness, William Tyrrell. In this episode, season 2, episode 3, especially this last section here, they're talking about witness statements and especially ones done by the mom. And why I bring this up is there's really only two theories here. There is no third theory, there is no 12th theory, there's just two. William was abducted, William died accidentally. There's really no in between. Um, and they bring up a very interesting point in this that the William being abducted theory already has it already has a disadvantage, being that a stranger abduction of a child within Australia is exceedingly rare. It's all over the world. A third party abducting a child in the middle of a country town is so exceedingly rare. It just doesn't really happen now. People might be able to point to little Cleo from WA. She was the first case in I'm not even sure, like decades. It was decades and decades and decades. It just doesn't really happen. So you're already working against the odds if that's the theory that you believe in. You're already working against the odds here because it's so exceedingly rare to have a child just snatched from their yard and have no evidence, no witnesses, no anything. But they bring up this interesting bit. They talk about the mum and they say foster mum, and they say that she keeps bringing up these two cars that she saw parked in the street outside between two homes. And she says when she got up in the morning, she opens up all the windows. You know what mums do? They get out there, they open all the windows, make everything all bright and annoying, and try and freshen up the house from overnight. And she says when she did that, she saw that these cars were parked across the road. And they bring this up because over the years they've asked her about these cars because, well, if we're working with a stranger abduction, these are increasingly important, right? If you could find any vehicle that's not supposed to be there, isn't that a clue? Isn't that evidence? Isn't that possibly the only lead we have on where William is or who took him? But the thing is, she mixes up her information quite frequently. First, she'll say things like, "I saw them in the morning when I got out there." And she's like, "I remembered and I told people about it." Then she says, "Well, I didn't remember until later that night after William was abducted that I saw the vehicles." Then she's like, "Oh, no, no, no. I told the police officer who responded to the property that there were these vehicles there earlier. Maybe they're involved." And they're talking about these inconsistencies in her statements. And I wanted to talk about this with you because we know quite a lot about inconsistencies in witness statements, especially people who have been uh, tentatively. identified as a person of interest in the case, right? Unfortunately, that is where the police believe the case is heading. It's been like this for a couple of years now. They've pointed the fingers towards her in court on record. In court on record, they have said they believe she is involved. Um, yeah, sorry, he was 3 years old at the time of his disappearance. He was a foster child. So, he was taken away from his parents. His parents had some issues. Drugs was a factor. DV was a factor within the home. William's father often, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I know that he was with his mom, with his wife, not wife, girlfriend. Here, there they are. There's Carly. She looks a little older these days. I remember seeing her when she was a young lady. And there's Brendan. So this is William's real dad. Not real dad. That's a bad word, Ping. Biological father and biological mother. Real is like that's not a nice way of putting it. And these are the William's foster mother and William's foster father. These two have got protection orders against their identities. So we can't name them at all. Like I know their names, but I can't use them due to some quirks in our laws. So yeah, there you go. So there's a little family tree for you. These two originally had William when they were quite young actually, and they had quite a messed up. I believe they loved each other, but I think they were just so young, had so many barriers that it was probably never going to really work. I'm pretty sure Carly has moved on now, and that she has other children, if I remember correctly. That she's remarried and has other kids, if I'm right. And yeah, these are the foster parents. Yeah, so he was 3 years old. Let me see if I can find a bit here about the cars, if we can read it to you. No, it's not here, but there's a photo of William, missing since 2014. Yeah, so there you go. I find that quite interesting too, because in other cases we've dealt with, what would Kenda tell us about people who can't tell us a straight statement? You know, Joe Kenda? What would he tell us about people who can't tell you like the same thing every time? He would tell you that that's a person you should be looking into, because he would say people who are telling the truth can tell you the truth 100 times in a row and never change their statement. A person who has something to hide will alter or change their statement every time you speak to them. And unfortunately, whether you think the mum is innocent or guilty, she has had some problems with aligning her statements with the truth, or not the truth, just keeping them in line with other things she said over the years. And one of the things I noticed, so they played a few different samples of her interviews over the years. You'll notice, and I'll give you the link so you guys can listen yourself at home. Yeah, I'll post the link in the chat. So if you guys want to listen, it's about 2/3 of the way through. You'll hear her correct her statements throughout the years, almost like she's listening to the criticism. Almost like she's heard, like, oh my God, I've got gaps in my knowledge. Oh my God, they don't like that I've said X, Y, and Z. And she sort of course corrected over the years and pushed her statements into what she thinks the public or police want to hear because it sounds more believable. Is that what she's doing? I don't know, but it sort of sounds that way. I'm not saying it's a confirmed fact. I'm just saying it sounds that way. Cat's Gallery says Colorado Springs and Joe Kenda. I love Joe Kenda. I think he's a legend. And one of my favorite things is Homicide Hunter. I love Homicide Hunter, but I like the ones he did after the original series finished. He did like 3 or 4 standalone episodes that were done after the original series ended. So good. They are the best ones he's done. Oh, it was filmed there. He's a good guy. Unfortunately, The year I had a virtual ticket to CrimeCon, he was supposed to be there, and I was looking forward to it so much. I really wanted to see him talk, and he caught COVID and couldn't fly and had to pull out of CrimeCon at the last minute, so I never got to see him, unfortunately. I would have loved to have seen him. But yeah, he would tell you that someone telling the truth will tell you the same thing 100 times in a row. Doesn't matter what day you interview them, doesn't matter what year you interview them, they will tell you the same story over and over again because it's the truth, right? That's why I find it quite interesting that she can't seem to get her facts right about these cars. When she saw them, when they left, and when did she notify police of where that she saw these vehicles, you know? The guy playing him lives here? Oh, that actor. Yeah, the actor who plays the young Joe Kender. Yeah, he's quite a famous actor, I think. Hey, Natasha, how are you? Maybe I can play a little bit for you and they won't yell at me. Let's see.
William's foster mother described. And any inconsistency in someone's evidence, it
across where that white station wagon.
And something else is odd too. William's foster mother told Leah Harris she forgot about seeing the two cars, then remembered seeing them the same night.
I realised that night that William went missing that I had actually seen two cars.
But she told police she didn't remember this until a few days later.
I remember reporting the other cars to the guys in the police rescue van that was parked here when we picked up my sister from the airport. Because on the way home from the airport, I'm driving the car and I just went, there were cars there. And my sister goes, what cars? And I've gone, oh my God. So that's when I've talked about the two cars.
So maybe that's a mistake. One time she says she remembered seeing the cars that night, and another time she says she remembered seeing the cars a few days later. But there are other confusions.
So there's a sample of it from that show, Witness, William Tyrrell. I can't play huge chunks of it because I think they will literally come for me with the hugest band hammer you've ever seen. It'll literally be like 100 feet tall. King Kong is the only one who could wield it, and they would just band hammer me. But I can show you that little bit, and you can see them there talking about the inconsistencies in her statements, which makes me wonder if she's inconsistent about just these cars that she saw, what else has she been inconsistent about, like throughout the years? What other inconsistencies can they find throughout statements given to her? The thing is, they also bugged her property as well. So in a different court case against another, I think it's another foster child, she has a young girl who's actually quite old now. I think she's 12, 13, 14, something like that now. They had another child, a female, and they bugged the house and their telephones trying to find evidence on William. But what they uncovered instead was some what's the nicest way to put it? They found some evidence of a strange relationship between the child and the parents and some possible allegations of DV against the child or CA against the child. I can't say more than that because some of these claims have not stood up in court while some of them have. But yeah, their entire house was bugged for a long time trying to search for evidence for William, and they came up with that instead. Yeah, here, hold on a second. I want to find something. So one of the things that we know police use a tactic with people they think are a person of interest, and that tactic is oftentimes what they'll do is they'll sit you down and they'll take your very first interview. They use this as a baseline. So they'll interview you, run you through the entire like day sequence, whatever they want you to do, and then they'll shake your hand and let you out. You think, okay, well, they didn't charge me, so I'm good to go, right? No, that's just the first step. What they do after this is they bring you in again and they ask you the exact same questions again, and they record it, and then they shake your hand and kick you out again. And then they'll bring you in a couple of weeks later and they'll do it again. And then they'll do it a month later, and then 6 months later, and a year later, if the case is still going. And they'll continue to do this for a period of time. And it's to see how your statements change over periods of time, and whether you are being influenced by things in your environment. And what they mean by that is like, is the media getting to you? Are you changing your statements based on things you've read online? Are you changing it based on information you are getting? And they watch how your statements change, how you leave things out, how you think between different times of being interviewed. Oh, crap. Well, I just shouldn't have said that. So next time if they interview me, I'm going to leave that out. And then I'm going to change this word because it sounds less nasty. So I'm going to say a different word next time. They really watch for this type of stuff. And it's one of the tactics they use to try and trip people up. And they'll actually cut your interviews up and then they'll bring you in and they'll show you. They'll say, hey, on this one, you said this. Then on the next one, you changed it and said X, Y, and Z. And then on the third one, you went back to the first story you had on week 1. Now explain to us why you did that. That's the interview I would like to see in William Tyrrell's investigation. Did they do this type of interview? Because this information is around. A podcast from news.com was able to find it. So where is it? And did they do that interview with them? Because yeah, very interesting. A lot of these recordings actually come from news reporters who have interviewed the family, but I'm guessing that the police have their own set of interviews with the foster parents. And I want to know if they did this type of technique against them to see where it ended up. And if it did, where did it end up? Because we're still at an inquest for William. There's no charges against anyone, and he's still missing. So, you know, as a child who was a foster child, as a kid who was a ward of the state for my entire life now, these kind of cases really eat at me because I think, wow, that could have been me. I could have ended up with, whoever, right? And I don't do a ton of child cases. If you watch this channel, you'll know I don't do very many. But this one really gets to me because, he seems so much like me. So much like me at that age. I was a hyperactive little kid. I had ADHD just like he does. And, it's why I keep following the case for so many years, because I want to see justice for that little kid. It's not his fault, right? It's not his fault his parents were having issues. It's not his fault that the court felt like he wasn't safe at home. It's also not his fault that he went to his family and something terrible has happened. He deserves justice, and he deserves like someone to stand up in court and be tried for whatever happened. Now, I'm not saying someone murdered him. Maybe they did, but we don't know, right? It's not his fault. And someone deserves to be sitting in that courthouse answering charges to wherever this little boy is now. I'm guessing he's not too far away. That's my opinion. My opinion from following the case for so long. I don't think he's too far away from that Kendall home. I think he's really close by. I don't think the people involved had very long. And I don't know why the police didn't find him when they did that $1 million search nearby. So I'll show you here. We might be able to see. So Benaroon Drive is in Kendall. That's where the It's the grandmother's house. She died a few years ago, so she's no longer alive. But her daughter, which is William's foster mother, was staying at her home at that point for a night or two. And the Kendall State Forest, that's where they did that big search in 2018, trying to find some sign of William. Nothing was found. And then in 2021, not too far away, just slightly down here, I wonder if we can make this bigger for you. Hold on. There you go. So in 2021, in this region here, they did a massive search here. It was a 4-week, 3 or 4 week intensive operation, corner of Batter Creek Road, Cobb and Co Road in Kendall, and they dug up everything. They tried to sift through the soil, trying to find any sign of William, and they found nothing. Yeah, so they've done a couple of searches around this house on Benaroon Drive in Kendall. One here and one over here in the state forest that backs onto the street or property. There's a huge forested area on the back. For a while, people were like, a pedophile ran across the forest, abducted William, and ran across the other side of the forest to an escape car. And I was like, no. What do you think? Like some guy, mid 50s, or out of shape, ran across the state forest with a missing child? I don't think so. It's normally the simplest answer, right? What is the simplest answer in this case? Did a stranger come along, get onto their property, up somewhere onto their veranda or deck, and bundle William up under his arm, run down the driveway, hop into a car, and speed away with a child never to be seen again, and bury that child somewhere? Very Madeline McCann. Or did something tragic happen that day where William, just being a rambunctious little boy, loved Spider-Man, maybe was trying to reenact being Spider-Man and was hopping around on the balcony, what do they call it? Like the handles and that, and maybe tripped and fell. That seems so much more likely to me than a stranger who didn't know that that William's foster mom was at the grandmother's property. No one knew they were there. It's not like they advertised it and the grandmother, had been telling neighbors, oh my God, my daughter's going to come visit with my grandson. I can't wait. It's going to be the best weekend ever. They it was not spur of the moment, but they kind of drove up semi-unannounced, came there late at night. No one knew they were there. So it's not like someone could plan it and they were like, okay, Mission Impossible style, let's go and abduct a small child, because no one knew there was a small child there. So there's things here that don't make a lot of sense if you look into them. Hey, Catatonic, how are you? Emily Nab says he would be near 13 right now. I know, right? Like he'd be a high school student heading to his first year in high school. That's very sad. Emily says sad he's never had justice and never been recovered. I think the hope is still there that we can find him, that he can be recovered, and that he can be given a proper burial. I believe. Ping believes. I believe he can be found. I think someone's got to come forward and tell what they know. There's someone that knows. I'm sure of it. I'm sure. Do you know how hard it is to keep a secret? Do you know how hard it is to keep a secret when there's more than one person involved? It is almost impossible. That's why crimes end up getting, busted all the time. Look at the Menendez brothers. How did they get busted? One of them told a therapist what happened, and it unraveled the entire thing. Those were two brothers. Thicker than blood, right? Thicker than thieves, both of them. And one of them told the therapist what happened. And they called the cops. Hey, cops, we think we know who killed those parents. Oh, yeah, it was one of my clients. It's so hard to keep a secret, yet alone for, what was it, 2014? It's 10 years, a decade. But I do have to play this. I want to play this for you to be fair. And I think that's the only way you can do this case, is to be fair to both sides, right? Tell both sides of the story, because we don't know. All right, give me 1 second. Let me line this up for you. All right, I want to play a statement that William's foster mother gave to this particular podcast, and I want you to listen to it.
Have declined to be interviewed for this series on advice from their lawyers. I have met them. We meet in safe houses, different hotels. And when we meet, we turn off our phones, which might sound paranoid, but they have reason to be paranoid. William's foster parents know in recent years that the police have been intercepting their calls. They know they've had listening devices in their homes and surveillance cameras outside it. And we'll get into all of that later in this series. William's foster mother has given us a written statement, and it's the first time she's said anything in public about William's disappearance in the years since she was publicly identified in the media and by the police as a suspect. These are her words. Just over 10 years ago, my little boy, William Tyrrell, disappeared from my mother's yard at her house at Kendal. I believe that William was taken. I have no idea who took William or what happened to him. If he is in fact dead, I have no idea where his little body is. I have no knowledge of or involvement in his disappearance. Even though William was not my child by birth, I loved William as much as any mother could love her child. I loved him as if he was my child by birth, if not more. It did not matter one bit that he was not connected to us biologically. William made my life complete. I loved him fiercely. I just loved being his mummy. My life with William was happy, fun, and an adventure. Every day was different. Never, ever for a moment did I regret becoming a foster mother. We were a family, not the traditional version of a family. It didn't matter. We were and still are a family, and we connected as one. For the past 5 years, the police have done nothing to try to discover who took William and what has happened to him. Instead, they have concentrated all their efforts on trying to build a case that I was in some way to blame for his death and the disposal of his precious little body. They have gone to great lengths to blacken my character in the media. I believe that if the police had properly investigated this case, instead of persecuting me, they may well have found the person responsible for William's disappearance. It's challenging to have hope and build plans for the future when our hearts remain shattered and in pieces. All I can hope for is that some person who knows something comes forward.
So there you go. The words of William's foster mother, read out by the host of this podcast. I actually like the fella that does this. I can't remember his name. Ping. You should research things before you go live. I will. I promise. Next time. I'll find his name. His last name is Box. Box. I just can't remember his first name, but he's a pretty good journalist. I enjoy his work. Danny Mitchell says, "Could she sus?" Well, let me know what you think about the statement that she wrote and gave to the podcast, and let me know what you think about the wording within it. I find some of her wording bizarre, like his precious little body, which is mentioned twice. I think that's a strange wording, And I'm not sure why you would use that within a statement that is supposed to invoke empathy for them. That's all that statement's supposed to do. It's supposed to invoke empathy for the foster parents. At least that's the message I get from it. It's supposed to make you think that they're a loving family, that you feel sorry for them and the trials and tribulations they've been through. But also, I just find that their wording a little strange. Like, why would you say things like his precious little body? Like, I'm not saying like she dreams of bodies or anything. That's just a little odd of a it's almost like she in her own head has recurring intrusive thoughts, maybe about things she saw, I don't know. But it's a weird word. Why wouldn't you just say my poor son, like I miss him like forever. Like I'll keep fighting for him. Like I long for the day that they find him and I can give him a proper burial or something. Like it's just the wording's a little just doesn't work. Danny Mitchell says, I thought the same. Red flag. Me too. Rachel said that statement is strange and she uses bizarre words. Well, some of it seems like lawyerism or like lawyer words. I can tell. Some of it has very much. It's like it's been run through a lawyer. I can tell. At least the first part is written by a lawyer. The second part doesn't seem as overly corrected by a legal professional, but yeah, it just has some. Yeah, I'm not sure why she would word it that way, but I'm not sure. Yeah, very sus. Look, I'm not here to paint guilt on the foster family. I just want to know what happened to the kid. But this is the information coming out, and I'm telling you. I don't think I've said once that I believe that she killed her son or that she's responsible for burying him or something. I'm just saying this is what the police believe. This is what the information coming out says. So one of the big statements that has come out has been that the police think that's their main theory now, that they think something went wrong, that she covered it up, and they just can't find out where William is. One of the weird things that's always messed with me, very early on in the investigation, there's a photo of William. It might be the one we have on the thumbnail, the one in his tiger costume. Spider-Man costume. I think it's this one. There's some weird inconsistencies with this photos. In the forensic document, yeah, I think I have it on my hard drive. Hold on. It says something odd, like it was actually taken 2 hours before it said it was, and someone manipulated the time on the photo to make it seem later than it was. Look, I can't verify that, and I've heard people say that maybe the software on the camera had some sort of like auto correction due to local time. Maybe. I mean, software works in weird ways. Let me see if I can find the wording for you. Yeah, it was from the inquest. It says the report from forensic software reads created at the 12th of the 9th, 2014 at 7:39:54. Corrected time 12th of the 9th, 2014, 9:37:44. The photograph regarded as a proof of life that William was still alive at 9:37 a.m. in the morning was a vital part of the timeline presented by Mr. Craddock of William's last known morning. They said until New South Wales coroner Harriet Graham's urgently ordered forensic examinations take place, it is unclear if the time was corrected to 9:37 a.m. to cater for, say, the camera itself being set to the wrong time. A senior policewoman, Detective Senior Sergeant Laura Beecroft, told the inquest last month that she put the time William vanished between 10:05 a.m. and 10:20 a.m. The foster mother called 000 at 10:56 a.m. in the morning to report him missing. That was from the 2009 start of the inquest into William's disappearance. Let me see if I can find that here. So this is old information. I'm just trying to catch some people up that may not know. So you have these weird inconsistencies. First, I tell you about the uh the vehicles. Then I tell you about the photo, and then there's like other bits and pieces. There's a lot of inconsistent information about William. There's just so many messed up things. This unfortunately, this entire investigation has been a bit of a crap show. We had a detective. It killed Gary Jubilant. Yeah, I like Gary. I do. I really actually like Gary. I think he's a good guy, a decent cop, and a decent detective. And I think all he wanted was to solve the case, but I think he may have barked up the wrong tree at some point. Yeah, I think he did, and I agree. He tried hard, and I think he just ran into a lot of dead ends, unfortunately. Cost him his job. But I do like Gary Jubilant. Angela says, I never thought it would take this long. Me either. When he went missing, I thought we would have an answer pretty quick. And the fact that it's almost been a decade is disturbing. It really is. All right, let me paint a picture for you. You know, it's a semi-rural town and a rare, semi-rural type of country-ish street. It's a pretty quiet street. If a child was abducted from a home on that street, do you not think, I don't know, people leaving to work, mums in the morning going to drop their kids off at daycare, I don't know, people, don't you think people would have seen a child being like carried away from a residence and put in a car, and then there was a random car in the street, and people would have been like, oh my God, that I've never seen a car that, in the street before. It's a black Toyota or something. Like it's very odd that no one can really point to anything definitive to say there was a guy here that, took a child. Hey, Lurch, how are you? Lurch says, I think she concentrates on his body because she saw it. That's what I was getting at when I said she has intrusive thoughts. It's because she already has seen it, right? That's what I was mentioning before. I'm glad you picked it up too. Sean says, a foster mom camp was seeing 2 cars later on. Yeah, I played the snippet of it. So they're different time frames from different periods. So she tells one thing at one point, says a different one at a different point, and then corrects herself later on to include other bits of information. So she said things like she's seen it first thing in the morning when she opened the blinds in the morning. She said weird things like, as soon as the police got here, I told them about the vehicles. And then she said stuff like, oh, I didn't remember about these cars till later that night, 3 days later, like all different time frames. And when you do that, what do you do to an investigation when you give information like that? You muddy the water. That's what happens. You muddy the water to where the police can't pinpoint what you're saying to get anything useful out of it. That entire thing about the 2 vehicles is rubbish. It's useless. You can't do anything with it because she's so inconcise with her statement that you can't use it to do anything. What are you going to tell people? Yeah, so there might have been a car here from sometime the night before to 3 days later. And like, oh yeah, it may have been here during the disappearance. It may have left. It may have come back. Who knows? You can't do that. It doesn't work. You need to give something concrete. Say between when I woke up in the morning at 7:30 a.m. in the morning, I saw a car here. When William went missing and I called the police and went out to my front lawn, the car was gone. That's all you have to say. That's it. It's so simple. Doesn't need to be complex. And that's not what happened. Well, this neighborhood had a mixture of people, some young families, some older people, like in their retirement type age, and it had a good mix of people in that street. So I would have suspected, if I know my older people, they are always up. They are always up early. All the older people I know are up at like 5 a.m. in the morning. They're always up super early. They are early risers. They go to bed early, they wake up early. For the most part. It's not a generalization. The ones I know tend to go to sleep early and wake up super early in the morning. So I would have suspected if there was some sort of hoopla in the street, someone would have been able to tell police, "Oh, you know what? At 10:05, I heard a car door slam and a guy sort of yell. I heard him sort of grunt. What was that? Oh, I should tell police about that." But no one said anything. There's been no real evidence of anyone except, people that should be there. Like, I think there was a washing machine repairman that was supposed to come, and they tried to angle on him for a while, and that didn't work, and no one's been able to give a solid explanation for an outside interference. So yeah, this was from a while ago. It says a picture which shows William playing on his foster grandmother's veranda was cited by counsel assisting the inquest as certain in the timeline of William's final hours. So this was taken on the morning he disappeared. They reckon just 20 minutes or so before he vanished. This is the last proof of life of William. But a newly revealed document from the inquest brief of evidence obtained by the Australian says the JPEG photo was created at 7:30 a.m. in the morning and corrected to 9:37 a.m. later on. It says the report by X-Ways Forensic Software reads created 12th of the 9th, 2014, 7:39 and 54 seconds. Corrected time 12th of the 9th, 2014, 9:37 a.m. and 44 seconds. So why, if this is true, if this is a correction of time, normally, so our seconds around the world don't change. They don't. So where you are right now, it's the same seconds. Where I am right now, it's the same seconds. The only thing that changes is our front part of the time, right? So here it's just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Wherever you are, it's, I don't know, 1 a.m. in the morning or something. But only the front part changes and our time of day, AM, PM. That second bit and the seconds don't really change. Unless you're in South Australia like a weirdo, and then you're half an hour behind. But your seconds don't change. So I don't know why your seconds here would change from 54 seconds to 44 seconds. That's a weird time jump. Well, unless, like I said, unless you're in South Australia like a weirdo, and then it does jump back half an hour. Hey, Jojo. Jojo says, I witnessed a gang trying to do something horrific to a car of young girls. When I reported, I couldn't remember the details when in fear, the mind does crazy things. It took days and it slowly came back in pieces. Yeah, I could understand that. And I get that with the changing details. But these details, my friend, are not in the preceding hours after William disappeared. These interviews are from the day he disappeared, 6 months later, a year later, 5 years later, 7 years later. Like, these are long form questions that have happened over the years. They're not like, the day it happened, the next day, the day after. And that's quite common with witnesses. That's why witness statements are not fully credible. 3:47. Yeah, it's 3:47 here too. 12:47 a.m. in Ohio. Ohio. Hey, don't eat any waffles out there or quarter pounders. Apparently they're all messed up. If you live in America, apparently you can't have any waffles and no quarter pounders. Oh, hold on. All right. So the inquest is supposed to continue under the coroner. They're trying to find what happened to William. And you can see how long this inquest has been running. The inquest into William Tyrrell's disappearance will resume in March 2020. It is now October in 2024, and we are just about to resume the inquest again for like the fourth time or the third time. It keeps getting stopped and started and stopped and turned back on, and more information and this and that. And they have tried a few different tactics to try and solve this before, but so far, no luck. 9:48 in Arizona. Lucky Arizonian. So there you go. That is the new series of the podcast, season 2. I think it's worth listening to, especially they get some pretty good archival type audio. They get some stuff that's not fully public access, which is good to have on record, and it's good to listen to. So if you like the William Tyrrell case, head to news.com.au and listen to the new podcast season, and it's called Witness William Tyrrell. And if you want to find it somewhere else, you probably can find it where all good podcasts are located. Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Android something. What is the Android site called for podcasts? I have no idea. I don't know. Hold on. Apple Music? Is that where you find them? Oh, Spotify. So apparently Spotify have an app that you can get it for. Yeah. There you go. Where all good podcasts are located. And it keeps his name in the media. Hey, Glitter. Kathy says, I've been listening, just not chatting. Is it because we're swearing too much? Are we swearing too much, Kathy? Spotify. Okay. I don't ever use Spotify, but you guys can. Yeah, but I think it's worth listening to. Or you can head to this link here, see? I don't know how you get to the rest of the episodes. Oh, through here. There you go. So they've got 1, 2, 3 episodes and then a trailer here. And they also have a season 1. Season 1, which is from ages ago, I think. From a couple of years ago? Was it a couple of years ago or was it from this year? There's been a few different William Tyrrell podcasts, but this is one of the better ones. If you ask me, I think it's one of the better ones. There's another one another news station did, and it's absolute trash. It's one of the worst ones I've ever listened to. Oh, hey, it's Gary Jubilin. There he is. We were just talking about you before, Gary. How you going? Oh, good, mate. I'm good. I'm catching all the criminals. Are you? That's good. How many did you catch today? Oh, like 20, mate. 20. See, he's still hard at work. Still hard at work. No, I'm not teasing you. No. Angela says, I got an Apple TV when I got my new washing machine. The ye old get a new washing machine, get a free Apple TV, whatever that means. Is that some sort of slang from where you're from in Scotland? Does that mean you killed someone? Is that gang talk? You go down the road and you say, I got me new washing machine and an Apple TV. Is that some sort of rhyming Cockney language? What does that mean? That you got a sandwich and a beer? You have to tell me. All right. Let's stop this. Let's get out of this one. We don't have too much time left, so I want to cover a different case. Something that where is it? My friend sent to me. Here. This is from Rachel. Rachel sent this to me under the title world's world's dumbest criminals. They say firearms and this word seized in Kootenai County residence search. Yeah, if they had a couple of white pointy cloaks, I would not be surprised if that's what they found. They say a man and woman were arrested for unlawful possession of firearms and trafficking that M word, a stolen game camera as well. Around October 21st, 2024, at around 9 p.m., the county sheriff's office executed a search warrant for a residence of Cherry Hill Park. Deputy said the stolen game camera continued transmitting photos and GPS, leading them to the suspects. Clever people. The game camera was stolen on October 15. According to deputies, 14 firearms and about 2.5 pounds of amphetamines and the stolen camera were recovered. Two residents, 54-year-old Daniel Grove and 45-year-old Christina, spelt stupidly as well, with it spelt Chrisistena, was arrested on charges including unlawful possession of firearms and trafficking. They say Grove and Ferguson are currently held without bail at the county public safety building, and their charges will go to court. You guys are geniuses. The smartest people I've ever met. You stole a game camera and didn't turn it off. Wow, you guys deserve a round of applause. Congratulations. Way too much meth for you. Please don't procreate. Please don't have children. We don't need more children with no brains walking around. Is it Kootenai? All right, thanks. You guys have got weird wording sounds. There you go. You get it for free for 3 months with every purchase. I hope you're talking about the Apple TV and not the what these people sell. All right, let's look these people up. Let's look them up. Let's find them. Kootenai. We need it spelled differently so Australians can understand it. Has to have lots of O's, a few E's in here, and a Y somewhere. And then Australians will be able to pronounce it perfectly. All right, let me see. Daniel Grove. Such a generic name. Could be an NPC. All right, let's go to Keim. Oh, there's those firearms. Oh, look, there's that big bag of white stuff. Look. Looks like they have some mushrooms too. Is that mushrooms? Or is that... I don't know what that is. It has holes in the top. Are they drying out antlers or something? I don't know what they're doing. That is the world's largest bag of crystalline substance. And look, he had a giant rock of it right here. That's what he puts in his pipe every morning, like a rock that big. You don't get a complexion like that without smoking a rock that big every morning. And he had a grenade. What a great guy to have a grenade with, right? The guy who has this giant bag of Go Fast powder. That is great. That's definitely the guy you want to have multiple machine guns and a grenade. Why does he have a test tube? I don't know why he has that, but okay. So you wanted to know where all your local tweakers got their stuff from? Probably this guy. Looks like he has enough to like give it to the whole county. I said the whole county, not Polk County. Two different places. It's funny how the paranoid individuals that smoke a lot of, amphetamine, seem to always have all the firearms. Scared of all those shadow people. Just remember, you can't shoot shadow people. They don't die. All you do is just shoot your house up, and you'll never get them. You'll never get the shadow people. They are far too fast. Kathy says we have 80-degree weather this week. That is very hot. He was probably making pipes out of the antlers. That's a very interesting skill. Do you think he could trade that for cigarettes in prison? Give me an antler and I'll make you a pipe. And exchange it for some cigarettes. Maybe he could. They say here a man and a woman were arrested after law enforcement found 14 firearms and 2.5 pounds of that, go fast powder inside a home on Monday night. Very clever people. I just love that they stole a game camera. You know what it was? I know what it was. These guys are so tweaked out of their minds from smoking all the go fast powder. You saw that giant rock. I don't know how he smokes all that, but he must be a busy guy. They smoked too much of the go fast powder. And then they're probably like, our neighbor has a camera out the back. They're trying to steal our thoughts and our go fast powder and tell the police. Let's go and cut it down. And then they'll never find out we have all the go fast powder ever. We will be the champions and the largest dealers in our county. And then our neighbor will stop spying on us. So they went out the back. They went and cut down the game camera, took it back inside and went, success, we win. Except it kept taking photos and video. And he's sitting there with his giant pipe of go fast powder, smoking away with all his firearms. And the cops are just watching going, well, this is interesting. Where is this again? It's giving GPS directions. Great. Load up the Bearcat. Here we come. Load up the Bearcat. We're heading out. We're heading out for a raid. You guys are very silly. Yeah, I want to put their faces on the stream again. Look at their faces. Your face is all over the internet. You guys really do look like two people who belong at a clan meeting. I ain't joking. If I found a swastika tattoo on either of you, I would not be surprised. Here, let's put their ugly faces on the stream. There you go. I don't know. It doesn't say. Let's have a look. Whoop, not that one. Let's see. Are they out on bail? No, they're currently being held without bail right now. So they are in jail. They are in jail and they are not getting out. And they're probably going through detox because of all the go fast powder. Let's see. Oh, I was hoping to give you a video, but no one has done a story on it, unfortunately. Let's go to KXLY maybe. No, they don't want to give us a story either. Let's go to KHQ. What have they got? Oh, wow, there we go. There's a bigger photo of all their weapons. Hold on. How do we get this photo? There we go. So it wasn't only the ones we could see there. They've also got all these ones up the back too. They've got this one, that one, that one. They've got like a billion. This is like a well-armed militia. Militia of tweakers. I'm telling you, you tell me this is a clan household, I'd believe you. Yeah. Need some bad boys. Bad boys, bad boys. Now they're on slow mode. They're definitely on slow mode now. Girlfriend's not gonna be able to bleach her hair in prison. I think they just stole one, right? From what it says, they just stole a single camera. Yeah. They say the search was initiated after a game camera was reported stolen on October 15. According to deputies, the camera continued to transmit photos and GPS locations, leading deputies to the suspect's home. So it must be not a private residence camera like your neighbor or something. It must have been like, forestry department or something had a game camera set up, and when they stole it, because it's government property, they were able to get onto it pretty quickly. Yeah, it was just one camera. So it was their first time stealing a game camera. Seems so. Very clever people. Very clever. Oh, I want to read this before we go. Treasure hunter finds possible 1800s artifact. Is it Cordelian? I'm pronouncing that so bad. My French sucks. What is it? He found a rock. The hell is it? I'm sure it's gold, but what is it? A YouTuber based in North Idaho discovered an artifact dating back to the 1800s. A bullet? Is that what it is? Yeah, bullet? They say the host of the North Idaho YouTube series, Rustiest Catch, that's a good name, Aaron Lee Berg, found an old bullet while doing a metal detecting expedition. After being evaluated by the Museum of North Idaho, they discovered that the bullet was most likely used by the same firearms used by the Army at Fort Sherman in the late 1800s. So yeah, it's a bullet. Does look like a bullet that got squished. They're saying here, I was metal detecting for an episode of Rustiest Catch. It's a good name. And it says, given its unique nature, I felt it had to be evaluated by the Museum of North Idaho. Well, that's where I take all my bullets that I find. Find old bullets in the bush in Australia, and I just take them to the museum because, of course, I'd love to know about it. After an expert reviewed it and confirmed its connection to Fort Sherman, I felt it was only right to donate it to the museum for others to enjoy for years to come. Yes, they will very much enjoy that. Thank you. They said, I love all things history and I want others to enjoy and learn from it as well. Yes. Learn many things from this spent bullet. Many important historical lessons will be learned. Thank you. They say the Museum of North Idaho said the bullet was in great condition. Sure. Most likely the best condition they've seen or had of an old artifact. What kind of museum is this? Where else are they getting their artifacts from? They say the museum did not want to be filmed on their evaluation and their artifacts' role in regional history. Berg said in a press release that it will be shooting a new episode to update viewers on the importance of this find. Yes. Super important. Let me show you a photo. Why is it not clicking over? What the hell's going on? Sorry, guys. I don't mean to keep you on the other page. Hold on. Here. There you go. You can see this important historical find. Super important. And he says people for years to come will enjoy it at the museum. They will. It'll be super, super popular. Angela says, have you eaten? I haven't eaten yet. It's a mushroom. I wouldn't try to eat it. Oh, it's Cordyleon. I know where that is. Only been fired once. One previous owner. Lightly used. Kathy says my uncle used a metal detector to find cool things in the yard of his Civil War home in Nashville. That would be cool. Some tweaker might eat it. Those other people from the other story, they'd steal it and then think people were firing at their home and they'd have to get more weapons. They'd be like, someone fired at our home. We found a spent bullet. We need to arm up. We're under attack. And they'd just have to buy more weapons and guns and bullets and stuff. All right. Well, we went really far over. Let's get out of here. I've done stupid amounts of hours of streaming today, so I should go eat. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we went on early before, and I think we did 3 hours, 4 hours or something before on the first show. So It's a spent mushroom. That's exactly what it is. It's a fossilized mushroom. Yeah, I got to go have a protein shake. Have you fed the cats? Yes, I have. The cats have had their food. They are sleeping. Rory's sleeping on the floor over there, and Muffin's on the couch on the top there. Yeah, I'm going to get out of here. Rachel said it's a small museum that's actually really cool. I'm very concerned that their greatest artifact that they've ever had donated is this. I think we might need to organize some better artifacts for them. We can ask the Civil War Museum if they have a box of stuff out the back, because I'm sure there's better stuff than a spent bullet. I mean, I appreciate the guy finding it and handing it in, but the fact they were so excited, they're like, "Oh my god, we've never had an artifact that's this great and in such good condition." And I'm like, "You sure about this?" Oh, you do? You follow Civil Rights Lawyer on YouTube and X. He finds some great stuff. I'll have to look it up. It's a death cap mushroom. Don't tell Erin Patterson. Don't tell Erin Patterson. She'll get all excited. I think that guy's a bit nuts. Yeah, I think so. He's a bit crackers. He's a bit crackers in the head. All right. Hey, I love you all so much. I really appreciate all the people who support this channel. It really sucks that these late shows are going to go away in about a week. Actually, less than that. Wait, what day is it today? The last late show is in 2 days. 3 days. 3 days. The last late show is in 3 days. Next Monday, I start the new job. So it sucks, but it's the economy of YouTube. It's just how it is. Hey, Yuda, how are you? Yeah, so let's get out of here. I love you all very much. I want to thank the people or the person, JDR, who sent in a donation tonight. I really appreciate it. Helps support the channel, and yeah, it's just, we've done almost close to 500 shows now on this channel. 500. There's over 500 hours of my stupid face on this on this channel for you to enjoy. So I appreciate it. My videos will always be free, even if we do a couple of live streams on Facebook for members or whatever. These shows on YouTube will always be free for you. I never charge anything for anything. So I appreciate all the help. It's very kind. I will see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. We may even jump on early at 8 again. I thought that was fun. We may jump on at 8 p.m. tomorrow again. Yeah, be good. Keep falling asleep. I must be very entertaining. All right, peace. Tomorrow night, look for the notification thingy at around 8. Okay? See you later. Good night. Bye-bye. You can't stay here. You have to go. All right? The bar is closed now. You have to go away. We don't keep people here. You cannot sleep here. You have to go. All right? Bye.